I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. I want to show you part of an interview with my co-host on Political Beatdown, Michael Cohen. And this part is very, very chilling because nobody knows Donald Trump better than Michael Cohen. And I remember seeing Michael Cohen respond to Special Counsel Jack Smith's complaint, but where Michael Cohen thinks that Donald Trump's ultimate intent and motivation, not just Donald Trump, but Jared Kushner and everybody else in the kind of Trump crime family, if you will, what their intentions are. Hearing it from Michael Cohen in this way, I think is critical that you hear this, critical that you share this, critical that you comment on this clip I'm about to show you. Let's play it right now.
Well, I think Jack Smith realizes that this specific case, there's really no defense to it. I think that once Jack Smith lays out the timeline that anyone sitting on a jury, regardless of whether you're a Trump supporter or not, anyone sitting on that jury will have to acknowledge that Donald Trump was in violation under the Presidential Records Act, under this Espionage Act, and that he needs to be held accountable. All right, plain and simple. They start out by stating that there was a request that was made. I mean, even Donald, in this absolutely ridiculous showing before on Fox News, again, this time with Bret Baier, his own statements will come back to haunt him. That they were his, he can keep them. He hadn't had a chance to go through them. So everything that he keeps saying is admissible against him at the time of trial. So Donald, explain to us, what do you mean you didn't have a chance to go through them, right? How come some documents were thrown about, others were not? What document were you talking to the journalist about, who we have his testimony? What document were you talking about in regard to a plan to attack Iran? Think about what we're talking about here. And brigaders, the part that scares me the most about Donald Trump and his refusal to acknowledge the mistakes that he made, and the fact that he wants to be in a position of power again, that he can make the same mistakes again. The thing that scares me is that we are very fortunate that this information has not produced another unfortunate 9/11 type of event. You can't wage war on another country and then don't expect some form of retaliation, whatever it might be. Yeah, that's why we have our incredible FBI, our law enforcement, right? The whole purpose is to keep us safe so that we never have to experience ever again what we all experienced on 9/11, whether you lived in New York or elsewhere. And so we're stuck in a place right now where we had a former president of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, holding up documents, sharing information, whether it was information that he had given to the Russians, going back to Helsinki about Israel, whether or not he's talking about Iran or anything else that still we don't know who saw it, who may be in possession of a photocopy or a picture of it. We don't know any of this. All we know is that there's unholy relationships right now between the entire Trump crime family, yep. And that, of course, includes Kushner and the Saudis, whether it's the Live Golf, whether it's the $2 billion that's been invested in Jared's fund, whether it's, China in terms of giving Ivanka a dozen or 24 different patents that she had, lost that they gave to her. Who knows? I'm right now speculating, but the reason I'm able to speculate is simply because we don't know. And if you don't know, what else can you do but speculate? I know that they didn't give Jared $2 billion to fund this hedge fund of his, considering Jared Jared wasn't even approved to be a advisor or a financier for the Saudi Investment Authority pursuant to the Saudi Investment Authority Finance Committee. Yep. It was only Mohammed bin Salman who overruled that. And the same thing goes for, his abilities when it comes to real estate. The worst single real estate deal ever in New York City history, done by Jared Kushner. All right. So, and Live Golf, come on, give me a break. Trump could never get his courses as a PGA Tour, right? So instead, he goes ahead, he backs the Saudi Live. This is really a problem. And we need to open our eyes, and we need to really examine this thing instead of attacking each other in Congress over, Adam Schiff's impeachment trial of
him being censured, which is totally,
this is just disgraceful.
This is totally outrageous. We'll talk about that, but just think about this. Donald Trump was showing these top secret records, these highly classified records involving military plans to just two random dudes, like just random people. Like he didn't even know who these people were. They were ghostwriters for Mark Meadows' book that he had never even met before. And within about 60 seconds of their arrival, of random strangers, he was like, hey, you want to see these military plans? Doesn't this make me better than chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley? Aren't I a winner? Aren't I better? Here, take a look. This is classified stuff right here. I shouldn't be showing it to you. It's classified. I never declassified. This is what he says. I never declassified this. Oops, but I'm showing you this stuff. Maybe we should figure out what to do. Ha, ha, ha. Everyone laughs. Here you go. Here are the records. So if he's saying this to random dudes, okay, imagine what he's telling Putin in Helsinki. Imagine what he's
only what we know, Ben. You're so right, pal. It's only what we know, and I try to,
because it's on a recording.
Everyone. Right. You remember I was on television, and then, of course, when we started Political Beatdown, I turned around and I said to you and the brigaders that Donald Trump will use this information to burn down our country, that he will use it as a get out of jail free card, that he will use this in order to extort the country, that if in fact you think that you're going to put me behind bars, that there are 5 sets of copies, blah, blah, blah. One will go to Mohammed bin Salman, one to Putin, one to Kim Jong-un, one to, whoever, Erdogan. This is the way Donald Trump thinks. He thinks like an autocrat. And he is, and I've said this a million times and it's worth repeating, he is, and he poses the greatest danger to American democracy in history.
And he would take these boxes with him after he was in office, wherever he would go. Like he would take the boxes the way people go on vacations and bring sunscreen and maybe a book with them. He would take the boxes and the papers with him because for him, that was everything. That was power, having these classified and top secret documents, because while it's not on audio recordings, you better believe it. He thought this made him cool. There's a transactional approach, but for him, when people would show up, the power that he would feel, the same way he did to these two ghostwriters. Look what I got, classified info. You want to come into my office? Check this out. Grab me a Diet Coke. You want to see these war plans? He must have done that every single freaking day. And this is the only one we got on the recording, or the ones that we have in the recording. But I think Jack Smith may know more as well. And Donald Trump probably knows what Special Counsel
Ben,
Jack
can
Smith.
you imagine Diaper Donald sitting there and going this? I know a secret. I got a secret, right?
What he did with those ghostwriters,
I mean, that's what he'd be like this, Ben. He'd be, I got a secret that you don't know. Okay, I got a secret. I mean, somebody should write a song about this, because it's true. Diaper Donald is sitting there. He is an infant, and he behaves like an infant. The problem is you can't give a child these type of, nuclear secrets, these type of, war documents, these type of classified information.
If you go through the indictment, and we've read it many times here, the transcript of his conversation with those two ghostwriters is only slightly different than what you just did right there. It basically, aren't I the winner? Aren't I the best? Take a look at these war plans. This makes me the winner, right? It's like, are you freaking crazy? And the answer is yes. Here are the posts that he made after Special Counsel Jack Smith made that filing that we just talked about. Because what's the playbook? You go to Jim Jordan, you go to James Comer, you go to Matt Gaetz, you
go
go
to
to Paul
Marjorie
Gosar,
Toilet Green.
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
You go to
Kevin McCarthy,
Ted. What do you call it? Ted Cruz. I mean, these are the same people. You're right. That's who you go to.
And so here's his post. Congress, please investigate the political witch hunts against me, currently being brought by the corrupt DOJ and FBI, who are totally out of control. This continuing saga is retribution against me for winning, and even more importantly to them, election interference regarding the 2024 presidential election. It will be their updated form of rigging our most important election. Look at the polls. They can't beat me. MAGA at the ballot box. The only way they can win is to cheat. Stop them now. And then the next post, Congress will hopefully now look at the ever continuing witch hunts and election interference against me in perfectly legal boxes, where I have no doubt that information is being secretly planted by the scoundrels in charge. The perfect phone calls, Atlanta, the illegal DOJ Pomerantz Manhattan DA hoax, where virtually everyone agrees there is no case, the New York State Attorney General scam, where I have proven beyond a doubt that there is no case, but I have a hostile judge who should not be on the case. And basically what he's saying to Congress is, and the MAGA Republicans, is obstruct justice. Call it an investigation so you could claim immunity under the speech or debate clause, but obstruct justice here, interfere, say you're investigating, and try to derail the criminal case. Try to derail what's going on in Manhattan. Try to derail the civil cases against me. Use your committees, weaponize them, and basically be my obstruction of justice committees and call it an investigation. It's a criminal act that he's asking for. In normal times, people in these positions, whether you were a Republican or Democrat, you'd be like, I'm not helping this freaking traitor. But the modern day MAGA Republican Party, as Nancy Pelosi said on the House floor, are puppets, and Donald Trump is the puppeteer of this new modern day MAGA Republican fascist thing.
Hey, Ben, you remember I also told you and the Brigaders that one of the things that Donald does, and he does it very well, we have to give certain credit where credit is due. He is the world's greatest flipper when it comes to things. He is a deflector. He's now using the same terms that I used when I wrote this book, Revenge. Look at what it says right there at the very, very bottom. How Donald Trump weaponized the United States Department of Justice against his critics. Everything that you just read falls into that line. Now, nice thing is that my book came out before Donald Trump started on his weaponization call. He probably saw the cover and said, whoa, I could use this. I'm going to claim, wait, I have an idea. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to claim the Biden administration weaponized this against me. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It's almost like a John Lovett type of an episode, right? Yeah, that's the ticket. Say they did it to me. It's bullshit. This is Donald Trump in the same exact playbook that he has used time and time again. He realized that he weaponized the justice. He knows for a fact he weaponized the DOJ against his critics, myself included, as the first and only person held by my own country, right, to be imprisoned by my own country because I wouldn't waive my First Amendment constitutional rights, making me the first political prisoner. So he knows exactly what he had Bill Barr do. So he's saying, whoa, if I'm that corrupt, think about it. The Bidens have to be corrupt as well. And so I'm going to claim that they're doing it to me. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And it's unbelievable. It's why I also say to people, read Revenge. Right? You will get to understand his playbook much, much better if you understand exactly how he did it to me. Because rest assured, I'm not the only one on this hit list now. He's got many, many people, hundreds, if not thousands of people, that if this lunatic ends up back in the White House, I don't even know about the size of the mass exodus from this country of people that he has, on his enemies list. No joke. And Ben, I think you could be one of them too.
Oh, I mean, I think I don't think that would be a question, and it would be an honor to be on that list fighting for democracy. In the last episode, I read it. I'll read it again here. The quotes by the chief Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels, who said, "Accuse the other of that you are guilty." And that's exactly what Donald Trump does. And also the other quote, "If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield people from the political, economic, and or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state." And you see why there is such an importance in spreading this propaganda by people like Jim Jordan and James Comer, the power of Fox to keep people ignorant, spreading the lie over and over and over again and repeating it. But that's why it's so critical and vital that we have these critical new hubs of truth and democracy and rebutting it piece by piece, which is what we do here at the MeidasTouch Network, and especially here at Political Beatdown. Powerful, powerful stuff from Michael Cohen, and it's an honor to be his co-host and to hear his perspective and learn from it and think about how we should be addressing this threat of fascism. And again, no one knows Trump better than Michael Cohen. So it's important we listen. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch and wherever you get audio podcasts. Subscribe to Political Beatdown and subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.